Just when we thought Christmas couldn't get any better, the Pitt Panthers got embarrassed on the world stage yesterday against East Carolina, of all teams, which is very good this year. Talk about it. Karma came calling for Pat Narduzzi and company.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host. Welcome back into Locked On West Virginia, baby. Well, we're talking Mountaineer football, obviously, or is it Pitt football? I'm not exactly sure. We'll get into the Mountaineer stuff, obviously. We got a lot to talk about, and we have another episode to do directly in a back-to-back style off of this. Obviously, I've gotten my intel in today. Another player to talk about that West Virginia there's mutual interest with a player. I've already posted it, so a lot of you guys already know, but I've just now received some tape about said player, so we will play it. It's somebody we played against last year, so another potential transfer there. Like I said, there is heavy mutual interest is what I was told, and given the permission to report. So we will do that. We'll do a video on it as well and see where that rolls, but that's not until the next episode. We're going to talk about Pitt first. I wanted to get this out of the way first, just because I should have done it yesterday, but I was so busy. So what we're going to do is on this one, we're going to talk about how much players cost from the portal right now. There's actually a list out there. Now, there was the list we talked about the other day where it was generalities, like, for a top-end player, it's this much. For a low-end player, it's this much. If you actually go look in on 3, there is a valuation for each specific individual player right now, although not everybody has one. So we're going to look over some of those, like how much do some of those Big 12 quarterbacks are they going to be going for according to On 3, and how much is Keaton Thomas, former West Virginia linebacker, going to be going for from Baylor this year? He's got a number. So we'll talk about that. That way we can get an idea for what West Virginia is going to be spending on said players. But we start where we start. Obviously, thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen, for being a part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We talk about your team, the Mountaineers, every single day. Thank you guys so much for being here, like I said, and let's get going, man. Going to be brought to you by our friends at Rougiette. Rougiette right now is exactly where my head is sometimes. If you've been thinking about taking that next step, now's the time. Head to rougiette.com/lockedoncollege to get 15% off your order for a limited time, and be Rougiette ready. Feel present, feel confident, feel ready. All right, guys. So if you're living under a rock, you may or may not know the Pitt Panthers lost yesterday in an embarrassing fashion in a game they had multiple opportunities, especially on one specific sequence of plays, to win the football game and just take control of this game against the team you should have outmatched. You have your starting quarterback. They didn't have theirs, right? And other players. I mean, each team had players out, but, you had your guy that you said should win the Heisman and would have beat West Virginia and all this, et cetera. Before anybody even makes the argument, because I seen somebody put it in there, got to make a bowl game to lose one. That's fair. That's a fair thing to say. But I dare say if we were in year 11 under Rich Rod, this ain't going to be what it looks like. This ain't going to be what it's looking like. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you can make that argument if you want. Just know that we're in year 1 and you're 10 years, a decade ahead of us, and this is where you're at. Come on, man. So in the bottom feeding ACC, I wish that we played in the ACC with some of Neil Brown's teams. Neil Brown would still be our coach, guys. I do believe that. He probably would have found a way to lose, to be honest, but the schedule wouldn't have been as hard, week to week. It's just the truth. We're so undervalued in the Big 12, and nobody ever gives us any credit. That's why we all hope Tech just takes it home for us. But as far as the Pitt game goes, let's go ahead and set the stage. East Carolina came in with a true freshman quarterback under center. They were missing multiple starters, including key defensive pieces and skill guys. Absolutely not a loaded roster, but what they did have was fire and guts and the will to be there, and Pitt did not handle it well at all. Right from the jump, East Carolina was making big stops over and over. Third and short, third and long, fourth and short. Their defense is flying around, hitting gaps, dominating the line of scrimmage. Pitt's offensive line looked absolutely overwhelmed at times in this game, early and often, unable to sustain blocks. Mason Heinschel, who is a freshman, as well, just more experienced. He's basically a sophomore now. He's played in so many games. You know, he had his worst game as a starter. I'm going to say something nice, but I do believe he's extremely talented, and I do believe that he'll bounce back from this. I hope he enters the portal. I would certainly love to have him in Morgantown, and I mean, it's a Pitt player. I get it, but I mean, he's immensely talented, dual threat. He had no time to throw the ball yesterday at all. I mean, they did the same thing we did to them at Morgantown, which was just sent the house at him every time. And I mean, he was just getting crushed, and you could tell he was totally overwhelmed in this game. But it wasn't because he's not talented. I just think it was one of those games where your freshman just played like a freshman. So he looked confused, rattled. He was mistake prone. There was a strip sack where East Carolina took from him from a huge momentum play. So, but let's move it back a little bit, because right before halftime, somehow Pitt flashed into the lead despite East Carolina controlling the entire clock and flow of the game up until then. And most folks watching the game thought ECU outplayed Pitt in the first half, despite their youth at quarterback. And somehow Pitt still went ahead at halftime. The second half was extremely wild, man. It really was. Knox Gunn started swallowing Pitt's defense with pure physicality. What a running back performance out of that guy. He wasn't just gaining yards. He was breaking tackles. Like, he was leaning on defenders. They were absolutely getting bulldozed by this dude. And the Pitt players started having hands on hips, and they were making business decisions and literally stepping away from contact in the really bad moments for Pitt. And there was even a touchdown called back on an inadvertent whistle in this game. And on that play, Gunn Jr. probably made the Pitt defense look like they were a Pop Warner defense. I mean, it was bad. And this is not hyperbole. He broke a bunch of tackles. He dragged dudes and forced Pitt to try to hustle to stop him. And he still outran everybody, probably a 60 or 70-yard touchdown run. And that's 3 minutes. And you're almost in the fourth quarter here. It's 3 minutes, 46 seconds left in the third. East Carolina had a 17-7 lead. You held them to 7 all game long. Defense is dominating, and that score would have probably stayed. But then Pitt got the biggest momentum swing I've ever seen, just about. And they got the call got called back on an inadvertent whistle. So, and there was an inadvertent whistle, by the way, but still, it's just horrible luck for East Carolina there. Very next play, or one of the next plays, Pitt gets a big momentum scoop and score off a turnover, totally flipping the script. I mean, just insane, man. So now it's 14-10 Pitt, or 13-10 Pitt, whichever one it was. I can't remember if they went for 2 or it seems like it was 13-10 after that for some reason. But either way, maybe it was 14-10. Either way, they were down. And you thought, well, that probably seals it for Pitt. I mean, their defense is playing well too. No. Instead of riding the wave of energy, somehow Pitt's offense still stalled. East Carolina reset, punched back with a freshman quarterback, and somehow, despite all the turnovers, Pitt, just couldn't take control of the game and gave up the big plays at the end. And East Carolina comes all the way back and wins this thing 23-17. Pitt lost to East Carolina. I mean, the East Carolina true freshman's still missing. I don't know where he's at. and he still outplayed Pitt. East Carolina physically dominated Pitt's front seven more than once all game long. Pitt could not protect Mason Heinzel for the life of them, and there were strip sacks, there were strip fumbles, there was missed reads for him. It was a really bad day. And the major momentum swings that should have lifted Pitt lifted them to fold somehow. Pitt fans got karma in the bowl game. They thought they thought they deserved to be in so much better bowl game than they actually were. And what happened? You got mollywopped by a pretty good East Carolina team, but they were without their best players. I love it. I love every second of it, man. Oh, God. I loved every second of it. So this was a good time for me watching this game. I enjoyed the demise of them in this game. I enjoyed Pat Narduzzi squirming after the game. Every time he squirms, I get happy. And boy, was he squirming in this one. And, I'm surprised he didn't try to somehow make another joke about West Virginia fans being zoo animals or making his players wear helmets and shoulder pads to the game. Maybe we'll be lucky and he's just not the coach the next time West Virginia and Pitt play. Although I will say he plays a really good villain in the rivalry. So, whatever you want to say, I guess. I mean, I'll be okay with him still being there, but you're in year 11. Like, come on, dude. Like, you won one. I think it's fair to say this. Kenny Pickett's a generational college quarterback. He's not a great pro. We've had those. Will Grier, right? Would we take Will Grier this year? Absolutely we would. We would be so happy. Would you take Kenny Pickett next year? Absolutely you would. You'd be so happy. Are they either one good NFL quarterbacks? No. They're average at best backups. So we get it. There's levels to this, but in the college game, they're elite players. Will Grier would be worth $2-3 million on the open market right now in college. Kenny Pickett would be worth $3 million on the open market right now in college. Pretty wild. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. It feels like Pitt is kind of stagnant a little bit here. I mean, last year they lost their last 7 games. Remember, after starting out 7-0, and then this year it's like you start out the year with Eli Holstein, who, if he goes into the portal, should command a lot of money, really. And I don't know why he wouldn't go in the portal. Eli Holstein's a guy that if he puts it all together, he's got NFL first-round talent. But I don't know. He seems to have some issues with getting pressured and things that I don't know if he can fix. But against us, we saw it. Like they had – listen, against us, if Pitt would have just hit their open receivers, we would have lost that game for sure. There was a couple times where we sent the house – and he flung it out there, and they had a guy wide open. It's just he overthrew him because we were sending so much pressure at him. I think that happened at least twice. So, yeah, interesting, man. I love it for Narduzzi and company. I love it for Mr. J.J. Kitchens. I love, but he's probably trying to explain it all away over there on his football channel. We'll move on from that. But thanks you guys for listening on this one. I wanted to get in here and do a quick episode on Pitt. We got another segment, though. What if I told you that there's a lot of what players are making or expected to make in NIL? Those valuations are up on 3 right now. We're going to look at a bunch of these after the break. It's pretty crazy how much guys are making right now. And, of course, this episode of Locked On West Virginia going to be brought to you by our friends at Rugiette, guys. And with Rugiette, if you don't know, let's talk about something most men just don't bring up, but absolutely should. Stress from work, money, and life, right? Those are all important things, but it doesn't just switch off at night. And when it shows up at the worst possible time, Rugiette Ready is designed to help you get back in control. Regen Ready is a next-generation prescription treatment created to support the brain in both blood flow to the brain and body so you can feel present, confident, and ready when the moment matters. If you want, Regen combines 3 clinical proven ingredients in 1 mint that dissolves under your tongue. Pretty good stuff, right? And it absorbs fast. The science behind Regen stands out. 3 clinically proven ingredients in 1 formula designed for both mental and physical readiness. And it's easy to understand why over 150 men have already started to switch, 150,000 men. If you've been thinking about taking the next step, now it's the time. Head to rugiet.com/lockedoncollege. That's rugiet.com/lockedoncollege for 15% off your first order for a limited time. That's Regen Ready. Feel present, feel confident, and feel ready. It's segment 2. Let's crack open this y'all. And have a look-see at some of these valuations for players right now throughout college football. It's pretty different to see it on paper. There's some guys here, man, that are worth a ton of money in the portal. So we're going to go least to highest, right? Because they have valuations on a lot of different players. And I'm going to be really curious to see how well these hold up, because I mean, it's one thing to have an evaluation on somebody. It's a whole other thing for it to actually hold up and actually be how much that's actually commanded for him or her or whatever, depending on what sports you're talking about. But we'll start with quarterbacks. The lowest rated quarterback I could find with an actual NIL association with it is Alex Mansky. $148,000 is what he's projected to get from Iowa State. He just hit the portal, I think, today or something. So, he was 4-5 as a first-year starter at quarterback, completed 103 of 180 passes, 1,600 yards, 14 touchdowns, 7 picks. He already also ran for 407 yards. But he seems like a guy that could be interesting in a system for somebody. He's got dual threat ability. But, yeah, so he's on one end of the spectrum at $148K. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you've got Dylan Raiola, Brennan Sorsby, Sam Levitt, and Drew Mestemaker, DJ Lagway, Josh Hoover, all over $2 million. Bo Pribula, $1.8 million. There's no way he's worth that much. There's no way. I mean, maybe he'll get it from somebody. I don't think Bo Pribula is anywhere near worth 1.8. And you can make a case that Lagway isn't either, because he had one of the worst seasons. Well, not one of the worst, but he had nowhere near the season people thought he was going to have. Josh Hoover, Drew Mestemaker, Sam Levitt, Brennan Sorsby, and Dylan Raiola. Dylan Raiola is at 2.5. Brennan Sorsby is at 2.4. Sam Levitt's at 2.4. Mestemaker is at 2.3. So, ton of different things going on there with that valuations, right? And those aren't the only positions. Like, you can look at defensive line, you can look at tight end. Some of the D-line costs are what's a good one? Malik Blockton, right? I mean, he's a pretty good player from Auburn. His money is, where'd it go? I just had it. $423,000 is what he's going to be commanding, and he's from Pike Road. So I actually know his coach. we just interviewed him the other day. That was a random pick too for me. I can't believe that. Wow. I just interviewed his head coach the other day with his former high school head coach. So, but yeah, so he's going to get a good payday. You look at other guys, it doesn't really, for now at least. I mean, and I'm down to like top 300 players, top 400 players, so they're all pretty good. The worst I can find for D line is like 312K, and that's Jamarion Harkless from Kentucky. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot to decipher with it all. Offensive lineman, you got a Jaquan McRoy for 313,000. You've got a guy like Seagren or whatever his name is from Oklahoma State. He's like more around 500 and something K. You got a guy like Kenny Minchie, quarterback from Notre Dame, is at 771,000. Anthony Calandria from UCLA, or not UCLA, but UNLV, 1.4. Where is our guy at? I'm trying to find him for us. Colton Joseph, 708,000. If Colton Joseph stays at 708,000, we got a shot there. I think we could absolutely pay that for him. But I would imagine so many other teams that are going to pay that for him. And so, as we know, this price is probably going to get driven up. I wouldn't be surprised to see a guy like Colton Joseph to get 1.2, or somewhere in that range. Because once you get to that, it's like, I mean, I might as well go look at Sam Levitt if I'm almost 2 million, already. But yeah, so there's a lot to monitor with all that. So let's go to break real quick. We'll come back and put a bow on this one right after the break. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia going to be brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. And right now with FanDuel, guys, you know what we talk about when $5 can come in and make you holla, but not right now for this one, because right now with FanDuel, if you want to remain in the action this offseason with FanDuel, you can definitely do that. And we support it. We support you doing it. We love when you at least try, because FanDuel is absolutely killing the game right now. As Fridays already feel like different during basketball season, FanDuel is making them even better. Every Friday night before the games tip, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. That's right, NBA Happy Hour, where NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame, limited time windows where special offers can drop and right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. So that's pretty cool, right? Fridays from 6:30 to 7:30 Eastern have become appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour. Opening the FanDuel app during happy hour always brings something new. You can get boosts, bonuses, and surprises, and the timing is perfect because right before the game, right before the weekend starts, you can be there. And then it also adds extra energy and synergy to Friday night basketball without overthinking it, right? Pretty good stuff. So before tip-off, check FanDuel's app and see what's happening over there for NBA Happy Hour and everything from 6 to 7:30 Eastern. A little basketball, a little action, a whole lot of Friday night energy. And that's NBA's Happy Hour on FanDuel.com, the official sports partner of the National Basketball Association. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it again. We're going to go ahead and put a lid on this one, come back and talk about something else I have in my mind. Obviously, we got the player and the portal that I want to talk about and all that, so I have to get that ready. So thank you guys for being here. Make sure you like, subscribe, the whole nine. Share the video out if you can, and we'll be back here in about 30, 40 minutes to talk about the next guy. Trying to think what else there was. Oh, yeah. Thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen. Make sure you check out Locked On Big 12 for your second listen. Direct Toll leads the conversation again. One of America's best podcasters right now, and he is killing it over at Locked On Big 12. Literally sometimes 100,000 views a video. He's just doing big numbers, and he deserves it. So he's a good guy, and he's a good person. Really hoping he continues his success. So, but obviously go check him out, and then don't be afraid to come back here and check us out as we go live here in just a bit on Locked On West Virginia, where we talk about your team every single day. The Everydayers Club is our last thing we want to remind you about. If you want a free members-only Discord, if you want free audio without the ads, you can do it. All you have to do is head into our members-only Discord with the link. And you can, there's a couple places you can get it, but it's Locked On Podcasts with an S.com/Everydayer Club. So I will share the link in the chat with you guys for now. And then if there's anybody listening to this on audio, I'm going to say it slowly for you so you can possibly rewind this and get it again. But it is Locked On Podcasts with an S.com/Everydayer Club. So you want to be an everydayer, as they say. So putting this in the chat now. But yeah, I'm not exactly sure how it works yet. I don't know if you can just be an insider on all of our boards or if you can only be on one at a time or how that works. But, go pick Locked On West Virginia and one other one and see what you can do. I don't know how it works. Maybe you can get them all for the certain amount. I'm not sure, but it would certainly be worth it. Can you imagine the intel you would get in those places? So definitely good stuff, guys. And you guys are good stuff. So see you on the next one. Thanks for making us your first listen. Have a great night. And don't forget to cue those country roads, as we'll be back here in about 30, 40 minutes to talk more ball about a good player in the portal for West Virginia. Good night.